When we talk about the minimum amount of equipment that somebody ought to have, if they own livestock, they have some responsibilities for animal health practices and doing those required procedures on cows and emergency operations. It's a lot easier to get a veterinarian to come call on your operation if they know you have some kind of facility to capture and restrain that cow. This is kind of the minimum we think you ought to have, at least some sort of lead up to where the cattle can be brought in here safely, some way to catch your head and hold them steady. The system has a chain where you can restrain the head as well and hold them in place. You don't necessarily need a squeeze chute on small operations, but as a minimum you need a head catch. It allows you to have a self-catch set up as well. If you're working a small outfit, a lot of times you're by yourself, so self-catch really helps from that standpoint. This particular setup holds 2 cows in the crowd alley, and that's kind of a minimum. Some people like to make a real short alleyway leading up to their head gate or chute on a small operation, and cattle always work better in pairs, at least 2. So you want to set up a small system where you can at least bring 2 head in at one time. This type head gate allows you to have a cow right behind the other one that's going to come in. And so if you have a certain type of head gate that opens to the outside to release one, you can't get it closed and catch the next cow. So if you're working in a small system like this is an ideal kind of head gate that opens to the side and closes. And that way you can catch the next cow right behind the one as she's leaving. So keep that in mind as you're looking at head gates to put on the end of a little alleyway for an operation. It needs to be one where you don't have any other way of stopping the cow behind her other than the head gate. The open-sided system we have here is a 90-degree turn to that tub. It allows you to come off an alleyway and use a sweep to bring the cattle in. I particularly like this angle because it allows you to work from the side of those cattle as they come around that sweep. You're still able to put pressure on them. But the advantage to that is it's not real noisy as it goes around, which is distracting. If it goes to banging and clanging, cattle have a tendency to want to stop and see what that is. So actually I prefer these quieter sweep gates as well. If you're going to use this same system for calves, this head gate works very good because regardless of size, it can catch and hold the head. The difference would be in this system, it doesn't have adjustable sides to it. And so if you're going to be working calves, you can still use the exact same system, but you might set panels on the inside of these to narrow it down so they don't turn around. Either that or bring them up one at a time. If you're bringing them up several at a time, in this widest system, they're going to turn around those. Now, 5 weights and up, gets borderline is where they can turn around. So a lot of it has to do with the size of the cattle you're working on, but as a minimum, this works very good for cows and bulls or whatever you might need to put through on an operation. Calves, I'd look to narrow it some way, and there's some real simple ways to do that. If you wanted to do a simple head gate like that, you can also use the panels and stuff that come, an adjustable panel that come on some other chutes perhaps to lead up to this, where you can narrow it down very easily. But if I was working primarily cows or yearlings, this would work. David, as we look at designing facilities, and we're talking about minimum things, safety always is an aspect of minimizing anything. So if you cut back too much, sometimes it's not safe.
Right.
But this little sweep system we're talking about here, it allows you to keep the cows flowing in a good manner, but it's got a good gate here that'll keep them from coming back on you as well.
Well, Ron, this is, like you say, a pretty well bare minimum. This is just a 90-degree sweep, but it's half of our 180. Actually, you can do a 180, 135. You enter here after you push your cattle up and you've got your gate between you and the cows, and that certainly increases your safety. you enter from this side. That way the cattle don't have a tendency to go here. And with this gate, I keep minimizing the opportunity for the cow to go anywhere but in the alley. As I get past any vertical stay, all I've got to do is push across like this, and the latch will block and protect me from that cow possibly kicking back, hitting me with the gate, or turn around and trying to force me back. And if I want to stop this anywhere, I can slam it across here, and that'll keep the cattle. If I see they're going to turn around and challenge me, I can slam that. Otherwise, I can just keep pushing them up, minimizing their opportunity to go anywhere but in. One nice thing about this particular latch that we have is, if one of these piston latches gets blocked the way it is here because the ground's not level, the other one will always latch in place. If in fact this was level and it was picked up and that one got blocked, both of them work independently. If that one just blocked, this one will latch. If this one's blocked, this will latch. It's an important safety feature. I'm not aware of anywhere else you can get it.
One good thing about this particular system in this small, short alleyway, if you use a no-back or something in something this short, it has a tendency to keep the cows from coming in very smoothly. So I like a sweep tub that will latch flush with the back of the alleyway. That way you don't have any obstacles blocking these cows in here. If you were to put a no-back, it would need to be up closer to the front, but people have a tendency to put them right at the back, and this prevents that from being a problem.